A small Catholic college in North Carolina is breaking barriers as it seeks to educate students in the liberal arts and sciences while keeping the Catholic faith at the core of their mission. Dr. William Thierfelder, president of Belmont Abbey College and father of 10, sat down with us to discuss the rich history behind the Catholic school and shares how they have always been pro-life at Belmont Abbey. I am here with Dr. Bill Thierfelder, the president of Belmont Abbey College. Thanks for joining me and spending some time with me this morning, Dr. Thierfelder.
Oh, Prudence, I'm so happy to be here. This is awesome.
So you went from being an all-American high jumper to being a father of 10 kids and the president of Belmont Abbey College. Just walk me through that journey.
Wow, that's a hard journey to walk you through. I'll kind of just shorten it and just say that, first of all, I had no intention of ever going to higher ed. It was one of these things. I was actually reading the National Catholic Register, and I'm reading this article on the left-hand side. Now, the corner of my eye, I caught the word Benedictine. It was actually an ad for the president of Belmont Abbey College. Never heard of it before. Don't know why I didn't go back to reading the article, but for some reason I'll read this ad, and then I cut it out, brought it home to my wife, Mary, and said, what do you think about this? I know she's looking at me thinking, what are you thinking about this? And I said, we talked about it for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's it. There's not going to be no more to this. And next 5 days, I keep seeing the piece of paper. It's in my pocket. It's in my folder. And I don't know why, on the 5th day, I feel compelled. I'm president of a company in Pennsylvania. We live in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And I said, I call up this guy. He answers the phone. I said, look, you might think I'm crazy. I'm not looking for a job. Can you tell me more about this? And after about 40 minutes on the phone with him, he says, I think you're the person for this job. Now, I'm from the Bronx, New York. Constant hustles happen really fast. I figure I'll be giving this guy a credit card number in about 5 minutes. You too could be a president of a college. And he ends up saying to me, I really need to meet you right away. Now, at this point, it's the hour of mercy. It's 3 o'clock on a Tuesday. And he says, I need to meet you right away. And I'm like, well, when do we need to meet? And he said, this Friday morning, I got to meet you this Friday. I said, I can't. I have a meeting in Pittsburgh with Dick's Sporting Goods. I can't meet you. He says, I'm flying through Pittsburgh on Friday morning. I said, okay, God, I'll go meet him at the airport. I go meet him. He's interviewing me for 2 hours, asking me about my scholarly background, which I do not have. Matter of fact, when I went to the University of Maryland, they told me my major was eligibility. So I go in, I have this meeting with him. At the end of it, I figure he's going to say, be on your way. Instead, he catches me completely off guard, and he says, I'm now confirmed. You're the person for this job. Are you still interested? I heard myself say yes, and I remember leaving the airport thinking, I just told this guy I'm interested in being the president of Belmont Abbey College. I've never seen it before. There was not even really a website to go look at. But I've always trusted in divine providence. I put it in God's hands. I went to my meeting, almost forgot about it. 6 weeks later, they called up and said, would you and your wife come down? We said yes. I don't know about you, but when we drove up for the first time, we were like, oh, we felt there was something here.
Let's talk a little bit about your family. As I mentioned before, you have 10 kids, and
yeah.
I'm sure that when people hear that, their immediate response is, oh my gosh, 10
yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
What does that say about our culture, and what needs to change, and how does the culture at Belmont Abbey kind of come up against that?
The way I would say it to you is, we didn't start off with some contest here to have as many children as possible. If you could have one child, I often say to people, if you could just have one child, and let's say they do have one child, I said, would you be willing to die for your child? And everybody says, of course I would. And I said, all I can tell you is we've got 10. We have 10 that we are so blessed. And if you have the physical, mental, and resource to have another, why wouldn't you? And so we are just open to life, and we've been very blessed, and I'm blessed beyond my ability to comprehend, actually. The 10 children are just so amazing. And the more children you have, this may sound strange, the more you have, the more uniqueness you recognize each human being. Because when you have a lot of them, you recognize different personalities, different skills, talents, and abilities, each so unique. And then to think that God allows you and your wife, my wife Mary, to participate in creating a new soul for eternity. Not for 100 years, forever. Wow, that's mind-blowing. That's hard to almost take in.
Right.
So we are just blessed and so happy. And then here, first of all, we have a lot of families that come here that have very large families, so it's not that unusual. And the place here has always been pro-life. Go back to Providence. This place is a story of divine providence, how it got here. North Carolina at the time that they came here only had about 700 Catholics in the whole state of North Carolina. So this is like little Mother Angelica thing here.
Wow.
A little bit, right?
Right. Yeah, very similar.
It's almost like, what's going on? How would you even think about doing this here, right?
Right.
And so they got this tract of land, again, providentially, all these things happened, for $10. They bought the 700 acres. Tried to give it to religious orders to come here and start a community, a school. The Jesuits, Redemptorists, a host of others. They all said, no, why would we go to North Carolina? There's no Catholics here. How would we support ourselves? God has a good sense of humor, offers this through Cardinal Gibbons to these German-speaking monks who have come from Bavaria up in Pennsylvania. They say yes, they send down one monk. I don't know how this happens. He picks up 2 students in Richmond on his way through. They arrive here April 21st, 1876. They start class the day they arrive. There is nothing on this property but 2 shacks with holes in the roof.
Wow.
That is the beginning of Belmont Abbey College. The beautiful Gothic brick buildings you see here, these monks literally dug up the red clay, formed them into bricks, dried them in the sun, designed the buildings, and built all the buildings by hand. I mean, it's amazing.
Let's talk a little more about that providence when it comes to Miravia, which exists here on campus.
Yes.
Talk about the goal of Miravia and how that folds into Belmont Abbey. You know, you're taking these women in who find themselves pregnant in college. You're giving them a home, an education,
Right.
a community. Talk to me about that.
It's really remarkable. And I think going back to the start of Miravia, it was the recognition that the people that were being most impacted by abortion were college-age women who were feeling like somehow their lives would be over, they couldn't continue, didn't have support, felt abortion might be the only avenue for them. So when they saw that, they made a commitment to say, we want to really focus on college-age women. The monastic community here gave them the land to build their building on. So it's literally, it's on our campus, as you've probably been over to it. Gothic brick, the whole thing. Looks like it fits right here on our campus. And it's so wonderful. And what we did here is say that we would provide the education at no cost to any of the women that were there. So they can come, and if they are at another university, they can transfer their credits there, but we don't charge them anything for them to continue their education. And it's been a wonderful experience for our students because a lot of them volunteer there. Even just having these women in their classes, they'll have a baby shower, for somebody. And it helps our students to recognize that if you're going to be pro-life, you got to put your money where your mouth is, as they say, right? You got to put out. It's not just saying, hey, I'm pro-life. It's like, what are you doing about it?
Right.
And so we support those women that are having children, that are having a baby. And to be honest with you, I think that's what we need to do. This should be a model, I think, for the whole United States of America. This should be everywhere. I know some people have a little trepidation about, well, should we be encouraging women to have, children? Well, of course not. But once someone is in this position, what should we do? Abandon them, or should we support them? And so we've taken the role of supporting them, and it has been just a blessing to have them here.
Amen. Well, Belmont Abbey is certainly a light in the world today. Thank you so much, Dr. Bill Thierfelder.
I appreciate it. God bless you.
You too.